dacă nu are ea pe laptop. În caz de... Ok.
Dacă mi-a zis colega că erau mai multe chestii.
Da. Nu m-a oprit eu un TPTX. A, l-a spus pe altul, nu?
La mine îl citește.
Să mă duc eu cu domnul să vedem. A copiat ceva, dar a copiat ceva pe el.
Cred că a luat la nimerele.
Da, da.
Am văzut.
Auzi? Da?
Și i-ai dat un acceptul? A intrat singur, nu? Nu, a intrat...
Nu suntem decât noi. Atunci nu trebuie. Dar n-a intrat nimeni. La care de mine ies. Dar putem să-l ducem.
Asta merge?
E deschis pulsul. Deci e deschis pulsul.
Good morning. Can we start? It's okay. Good morning once again. My name is 𝐒𝐩𝐚𝐜𝐞. I'm the Vice Rector of the National University of Science and Technology Politehnica Bucharest. And I would like to thank you for your participating in this event and for accepting our invitation. Unfortunately, Mr. Rector 𝐁𝐞𝐲𝐨𝐽 could no longer attend this event, and because that was invited for a speech in Brussels. First of all, I would like to thank you to our guest. I would like to thank you and to salute the presence of the Secretary of State, Mr. Tudor Prisăcaru, from the Ministry of Research, Innovation and Digitalization, and also to our guests from abroad. We have here Your Excellencies, the Ambassador of the Ambassador of Romania in Luxembourg, and also the Ambassador of Luxembourg to Romania. Mr. Rector 𝐁𝐞𝐲𝐽 regretted that your presence is not possible today, but managed to record a video message for you, and I like to see now the message of our rector.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, dear professor and students, I want to express my gratitude to Her Excellencies Mrs. Elisabeth Cardoso, Ambassador of Luxembourg to Romania, and Her Excellencies Mrs. Livia Rusu, Ambassador of Romania to Luxembourg, for their dedication and support in making this event possible. We are honored that you choose our university to host this event that gather professionals, researchers, academics. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, dear professor and students, I want to express my gratitude to Her Excellencies Mrs. 𝐿𝐳�0 Cardoso, Ambassador of Luxembourg to Romania, and Her Excellencies Mrs. Livia Rusu, Ambassador of Romania to Luxembourg, for their dedication and support in making this event possible. We are honored that you choose our university to host this event that gather professionals, researchers, academics. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, dear professors and students, I want to express my gratitude to Her Excellencies Mrs. 𝐿𝐳�0 Cardoso, Ambassador of Luxembourg to Romania, and Her Excellencies Mrs. Livia Rusu.
Okay. In a technical university we have technical problems. Sorry for this. And let me now to invite Mr. Tudor Prisăcaru, the Secretary of State from Ministry of Research, Innovation and Digitalization, to address you some words. Please, Mr. State Secretary.
Mr. Vice Rector, Your Excellencies, Mrs. Ambassadors, dear guests, dear students, dear colleagues, I want to start this very short speech regarding to some modification that probably we can do concerning the title of our event. I think being here in the University Politehnica of Bucharest now, you see the times are changing. The National University for Science and Technology Politehnica of Bucharest, I think we can consider that you as future engineers and researchers, starting from academia, by innovation, you should enter to the entrepreneurship. I think this is a much more interesting path in order to accede to our life. And probably the contact with experience in Luxembourg, and not only, will help us in order to develop our horizon concerning innovation, because here is the clue of the whole system, to be innovative. Sometimes using the things you are finding around us, and especially concerning the space industry. And now you see since some years ago, it is about an entrepreneurship in space industry. I think we have a lot of things to study, to discuss about, and to get experience for. For me, it's a very pleasant day to have our colleagues from Luxembourg here, and to begin a future cooperation in order to get a win-win system for both of us. So thank you very much once again, and wish you very good luck for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. State Secretary Prisăcaru. And now I will invite Mrs. 𝐿𝐳�0 Cardoso, the Ambassador of Luxembourg to Romania, to address also. Please, Your Excellencies, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Dear State Secretary, dear Vice Rector, and dear Honorary Consul of Luxembourg, who has joined us also here today. I would like to thank also the Polytechnic University for partnering up with us and hosting us today. Very happy to see so many young men and young women here in the room. To be able to tell you a few words about my country, Luxembourg. Many people, when they hear about Luxembourg, they do not spontaneously think about the space industry or space innovation. And yet, I believe that in the European and international space community, Luxembourg has become quite well known in the past years, not only because we have a flagship company named SES, which is one of the largest communication satellite companies in the world, but also thanks to the very fast and dynamic establishment of a government-supported space strategy that set up a whole new ecosystem around new space in the past 10 years. Space was chosen as a sector of diversification that would benefit the whole of the Luxembourg economy. One of the first steps that we took was to pass legislation to allow the proceeds of space resources to remain the ownership of the company which collects them. We were then only the second country in the world after the United States to pass such legislation. Our approach is resolutely innovation and business oriented. And we have been able in the last few years to attract over 80 startups and companies and branches of other companies in most diverse areas of the new space sector, which is constantly growing. Today, internationalization is an imperative for any student or researcher or any startup or company who wants to grow. Luxembourg might seem like a tiny country and market, but it's not only about our internal market or our size. It's about our reach. For example, SES, the satellite company, is headquartered in Luxembourg, but provides satellite communication to the whole world. Luxembourg is a hub in the center of Europe with a manageable and supportive business environment from which a startup can work with many other countries. Students, researchers, companies in Luxembourg benefit from a central location in Europe, high quality of life, multinational workforce, short decision-making procedures, and most importantly, form a full ecosystem of support to innovation, research, and development. Also, government support for the growth of Luxembourg's space sector is a clear priority for all political parties, which ensures stability for business. Our space agency is a central engine in that approach. The cooperation with our university is also very close. The university offers master's degrees related to space in English language. From the start, the concept of the Luxembourg University, which celebrates 20 years this year, has been to be an integrated actor in Luxembourg's economy and society, supporting research in social sciences, technology, finance, and many other areas. The university has partnerships with research centers and many collaborations with companies and national and international institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, the title of our conference today is From Academia to Innovation to Entrepreneurship. For those of you who are now in academia, you might be thinking ahead of what you want to do afterwards. And innovation and entrepreneurship might be one of the paths that you want to follow. Our two panelists who have come from Luxembourg today will tell you more about what we are doing in Luxembourg about that and how we are doing it. And you will be able to ask questions and meet them during the networking break later on. I hope this conference will make you curious to find out more about Luxembourg and our many dynamic activities in the space sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you for being here with us today. And now I invite Mrs. Ambassador of Romania to Luxembourg, Mrs. Livia Rusu, please.
Thank you and good morning to all. Dear guests, dear students, it is a real pleasure to be here today, and I am honored to welcome you all to this event. I would like to take a moment to thank the Rector of the University Politehnica of Bucharest for accepting to host the conference, the Luxembourg Ambassador to Romania, and the enthusiastic staff of Politehnica, who helped in a very professional manner make this experience possible. When I approached our partners in the attempt to design this event, we had an open and constructive dialogue on why such a conference and for whom. I will share with you the intent behind the event. This conference seeks to provide a good opportunity for a fruitful exchange of views in the field of space industry, starting in particular from the academia and startup level. It tries to stimulate research and innovation, connecting the space sectors in Romania and Luxembourg on various dimensions, and, why not, allowing in the future the creation of links with other actors at global level. And, most important, this conference is meant to support young talents in Romania, students and researchers, in their decision to pursue a career in this sector. At the same time, the event represents a first more profound bilateral interaction on space industry, key area in which the government of Luxembourg has invested more than significantly in recent years, providing opportunities for interesting parties to connect and discuss, to work together towards innovative ideas, new technologies, and to agree on common projects. You will have in the next few hours the occasion to discover the Luxembourgish space ecosystem model, with lessons learned and best practices, such as the existence of many startups interacting with universities and research innovation sectors, but also industry. You will also have the occasion to revisit, probably, the Romanian space ecosystem. I hope today's debates will provide an impetus for further progress for both Romanian and Luxembourgish space sectors. I would like at this point to welcome the presence in Bucharest of Mr. Max Seres, CEO of Luxembourg Space Agency, and thank him for both participating in this conference and for signing later on a memorandum of understanding with his Romanian counterpart, Mr. 𝐁𝐞𝐲𝐴, President of Romanian Space Agency. A warm welcome also to Ms. Jenny Holland-Helberg, Head of International Relations of Lux Innovation. Those interested in innovation and research, and in a model to acquire ways and means to accelerate startup, will have discovered the best interlocutor. I hope that the presence of such major delegation to Romania will pave the way for the establishment of future projects or programs that can be launched together within the framework of the upcoming Luxembourgish economic mission to our country, foreseen for next year. Last but not least, I believe that the potential for cooperation in the space area between Romania and Luxembourg is substantial. Events like this can only help to improve mutual understanding, and it is the key to a deeper cooperation. Once again, I would like to thank all those who made this event possible and to wish every success in the proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you for organizing this event in our university, because it was your initiative. And once again, thank you a lot. We finished the first part of our meeting, the official opening, and now it's time for the two panels, moderated by Mr. 𝐁𝐞𝐲𝐴, the Dean of Faculty of Aerospace Engineering, and also the ROSA President. And I invite Daniel to take the floor for manage the panels.
Okay, thank you very much. Please allow me to stay on our places in order to deal with the two panels. Mr. State Secretary, Mr. Vice Rector, Miss Ambassadors, dear guests, dear students, it's an honor and a pleasure for me to be here in this interesting event with such a big number of students that are still coming, and that's a very joyful thing for us. A lot of interest for these panels from our conference, from academia to innovation and entrepreneurship. And not to be much more in a short discussion, I will start with our first panel, the transition from academia to startups and companies. So in our first panel, we will debate on the transition from academia to startups and large companies. Higher education remains crucial not only to individual entrepreneurs, but to the whole startup ecosystem. Ecosystem that fuels new businesses, innovation, and economic growth. Higher education is not just about securing a valuable qualification, It is about developing the skills, knowledge, and experience you need to thrive in future endeavors. After graduating, you must still remain committed to your principles as a researcher, advancing research in your field, proving concepts, publishing, keeping up to date with new innovations, and use all the knowledge and skills you have acquired to excel in your field, even if your goals will be different. Entering the industry means you are entering a business-oriented environment that sees profit and growth as markers of success and motivating factors. And that's why we have so many companies today. We have many success stories of former students of our University Politehnica of Bucharest that have founded startups and became successful company owners. We are committed to support you in this endeavor. We welcome our Luxembourg guests, and I'm glad to announce that the Romanian Space Agency and the Luxembourg Space Agency will conclude later today a memorandum of understanding regarding cooperation in the field of space and space activities for peaceful purposes. The identified areas of potential cooperation are space science, research, technology and innovation, space exploration and space resource utilization, space applications and services, including satellite communications and Earth observation, security-related space activities, industrial cooperation, space for sustainable development, and space education. It is my great pleasure to introduce Mark Serres, the CEO of Luxembourg Space Agency. Mark, you have the floor.
Well, thank you very much, Daniel, and good morning to all of you. So I haven't really prepared a presentation because I thought that it would be more a discussion this morning. But given the topic, maybe I can very quickly tell you a bit how we see the things in Luxembourg. And of course, the word innovation has been used several times, and I think this is a key when it comes to develop new activities. And this is where we are putting a lot of emphasis as well. So at the agency here, we are really looking to the whole chain of education. So we start already with the activities with youngsters in the primary and secondary school. So it's very important to make them aware that there is an opportunity, and you will not be surprised that, of course, space is a very inspiring topic for the kids. About 2 years ago or something like that, the European Space Policy Institute in Vienna made a study on space education. And it revealed that 99% of the people that have a career in space are in space because they have been inspired. And that's really very, very interesting. Also for us, looking at that from a business point of view, you know, people going into space or in these careers don't do it for the salary or for things like that. They do it because this is something that inspires them. And I hopefully I see here people that are inspired enough to go into these careers in the future. But that was something very interesting to learn. So we need to talk about space and inspire the young generation so that they are interested enough to go into this domain. So this is then when, you know, we go through primary and secondary school. We address as well higher education. And so we have programs at the university in Luxembourg. So we have essentially 2 masters that deal with space. The one is more related to communication and space law. And the second one is a master that we call the interdisciplinary space master, which is not a master that, you know, sort of trains space engineers. You have to have a certain technical background to go into this master. But this will then, even if you have not studied in space, will give you the basics in space and very importantly as well, and this is again linked to the way we see the things in Luxembourg, it's giving you basics as well in business. And our expectation is when you are doing this master is that you are immediately operational to work in a company or even ready to create your own startup. So after higher education, we also offer the opportunity to young graduates to go and work for 1 or 2 years at ESA, the European Space Agency, which is an extraordinary experience. Of course, ESA is not as well known as NASA. I assume that more people know NASA than people who know ESA. But nevertheless, ESA is a fantastic organization where young engineers or young scientists can have a very interesting first experience. And so when people come back then to Luxembourg, they are supposed to be ready to enter in our companies, and as Ambassador Cardoso just mentioned, we have had an incredible increase of number of companies in Luxembourg over the last 6 to 7 years. Of course, many of them are still sort of at the startup level, but nevertheless, some of them have now acquired a certain level of maturity, who gives them the real chance to become sustainable on the longer term. Maybe you know that space is from tradition a domain that is strongly depending on public funding. So this is how it worked, or it's still working. What we would like to emphasize here in Luxembourg is to change that, or at least to attract in Luxembourg the companies that really seek for a real commercial business. That means also finding other customers than agencies or governments. We did it already in the 80s. Elisabeth mentioned SES. SES was already in the 80s the willingness of the government to create the first European satellite, private and commercial satellite operator in Europe. That was a big debate in the country, but also with the neighbor countries, because nobody was really believing that would be possible. But look at the situation today. This is the only real commercial market worldwide in satellite communications. And many of the former public companies have become private, and we have now a real international market in this domain. And so we expect seeing other domains becoming real commercial markets. We have seen now a strong development of Earth observation, using imagery that is collected by satellites to develop applications to be served in many domains: agriculture, land planning, risk management, insurance, and so on. And this is also something where we see now a strong emergence of more commercially driven activities. Then I just finish my introduction here with one topic that Elisabeth mentioned as well, is space resources. May I ask you if you have heard already about space resources? Who did hear already about that? That's a vast minority. So space resources are all the minerals that you can find in space. And as you know, today our practice is that we build everything on ground, we put it in a rocket, and we launch it, and then we use it in space. And we use it in a manner that is somehow not very sustainable, because when it's empty or the tank is empty, we just leave it there, or we burn it, and or we park it in space, and if it doesn't work anymore, it's just the debris floating around the Earth. So we see here a real disruptive opportunity in using space resources for the future, and disrupting also our practices in space. Because the day you are able to use raw material that you collect in space, transform it, process it, manufacture in space, you will have extraordinary capabilities in the future also to to work in space very differently than the way we do it today. Of course, this is a long-term vision. This is not exactly for tomorrow, but we have invested a lot, and we are also here promoting this initiative broadly and looking for partners also in Europe and outside Europe to go forward on this topic, because this will be crucial for the future of space activities for the next decades. We believe this will be strategic to have these capabilities in Europe, and so hopefully also with Romania we will have a good partner to develop such type of initiatives. So that was it for me for the moment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark. A very interesting introduction, a lot of information, a lot of new information for our students, or for part of our students. And let me first ask you something, and then to encourage the students to try to ask the panelists the things that they are interested in. So only one question from me. In your position, with your big experience, what would be the advice that you would give to a young graduate aerospace engineer from Romania, let's say?
Wow, Daniel, that's a tough question.
I tried. We prepared a lot for this question.
Well, you know, going into the entrepreneurship is something that is not easy. And I believe that the first thing you need to have is, of course, the passion of your job. And I think you said it already, Daniel. The idea is to be as excellent as you can in your field and to like doing what you do. So this is the first thing that I would recommend, is to really go for it because you are passionate in doing what you want to do. Of course, you know, that's not enough, the passion. You probably need much to have a lot of different capabilities to be successful when you create a company. And so working with the people who have the right capabilities, the right experience is very important. So we have in Luxembourg several programs that are dedicated to startups, where we use a lot the mentoring. So mentoring is the process where you know, you have more experienced people who help the young entrepreneurs developing their business, and we see how much they have to learn, of course, in this process. So this is also something that you have to know. You will learn a lot if you go into this direction. And mentoring is a very nice way already to somehow get the experience from others. It can be from technical aspects, but most and more generally, it's related to how you deal with the business, how you put in place a business plan, and how you operate in a way that you will survive this very difficult period, so the first 5 to 10 years when you have to build up all the things. So getting support from outside is something that is important. So of course it's remarkable when people are able to do it completely from their own. But you have to know, and I don't know, here in Romania, I assume you also have some incubation programs, but I believe that this is a nice way also to get quickly experience from others to build up your business.
I would add to that also networking, which encompasses many of the things that you said. The event today is meant also as a networking event. It's not just for you to just sit there and take in information, but we have invited people from academia, we have invited people from the startup scene, from the research scene, etc. And those areas, they feed each other. And that's also why we have a break that is a networking break. You take advantage of the people who are here in this room today to ask your questions, to find out more, you know, see who could be an interesting partner for later. That I mean, you hardly succeed all alone in your living room. Some people do in their garage; they succeed very well. But I think networking is still a good advice.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark. Thank you very much, Ms. Ambassador. Of course, our university is trying as much as possible to put together the companies, the startups, and the students. We have internship programs. We have a lot of extracurricular activities, and one of these activities is this one that we are dealing with today. So we will go on with Mr. Ion Nedelcu, Director Global Monitoring for Environment and Security Projects from the Romanian Space Agency. Please, you have the floor.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for passing me the floor. I have some slides. Yeah. Okay. And thank you very much, the organizers, for inviting me today. I am a technical coordinator of projects related to the environment and security at the Romanian Space Agency, and I'm going to speak to you today about these projects we are running in the Romanian Space Agency in relation to environment and security. Of course, many people in the room coming from the aerospace domain, especially the aeronautic engineers, are excited today about the new Black Hawk equipment coming in Romania and the possibility maybe to work with it in the future. But yeah, coming back to space, I think there are many opportunities if you want to do something related to space, because we have a good context. We have a national landscape that is developing more and more. We have an international context that is rising different types of challenges, and we at the Space Agency are doing our best to support the integration of the young professional in this national and international landscape related to space. Today I'll try to give you some example of what you do or what you can do in relation with Earth observation, and I will start my presentation with a few examples that I like to introduce when starting a speech. This is an example I got from the European Space Agency website some 2 years ago, and is related to the use of Earth observation in deriving a number of indicators related to social and economical development. This is what we do today, starting from Earth observation data and applying sophisticated analysis methods, including artificial intelligence. I won't speak today about artificial intelligence, but I'll give examples of results that are obtained when artificial intelligence is applied to Earth observation data. Another example, again coming from the European Space Agency website, is the possibility to use satellites for deriving information related to methane emissions. This is a combination of data coming from the Copernicus Sentinel satellites that is used for deriving this kind of information. And we speak here about the Sentinel-5P, Sentinel-2, and this data combined allow us to do this kind of intelligence, if you want, to derive intelligence that is then useful in daily activities. Next slide, please. Yeah, the last example I want to give as an introduction is related to environmental injustice and the way the data that is produced by the one of the Copernicus program components, Copernicus European Union program for Earth observation, can help the way this component can help the people to derive information about this concept that is called environmental injustice. Next slide, please. When we speak about Earth observation data, we speak about data that started to be used more and more every day. And here you have some statistics. You speak about petabytes of data.